Alright guys, Raw Rossler here, and I know it's been a long time since I've put a video on this channel, but today I just thought I'd do one because it felt like today I needed one and I needed to get my thoughts out there and on my channel. Now, I've had a very busy last couple of months. There was no SummerSlam review, there was no NXT TakeOver Brooklyn review, which was a shame because that was a pretty fun show. Probably the weakest takeover of the year, but still a fun show. There was no All Out review, which is a shame. There was no G1 episode review, which is a shame because this year's G1 was excellent. The final of Kota Ibushi and Jay White is still my favourite match of the year. I mean, we've had some fantastic ones still since. Walter and Tyler Bate, I didn't get to talk about. Amazing match. The Ilya Dragunov and Cesaro match on that show. The 6-man tag on that show. It's just been a very busy last couple of months. I had some uni work to do over August. September's been all about finding a job, and today just seemed like one of my last chances before I finally get a job to really do a video like this. So it just felt right to me today to do it. I'm not going to be reviewing Hell in a Cell 2019, but that is going to be the main topic for the video. I'm not going to be reviewing it match by match. I've now fully seen the show, so can comment. And I think my opening gambit is going to be that the WWE are complete morons. And this week, from Monday to Sunday, has showed me the absolute incompetence of the writing team, of the people in charge, of the booking people, of the agents that sort the matches out, the road agents. My phone just went off. I do apologise for that. It's nothing important. No, it's just my dad. That's really sad. I just said it's not important. But no, it showed to me the utter uselessness of the WWE's team. And I've just looked and I want to talk about cool things because so much has happened to me in the last couple of months. It's Sherelle's birthday and she got all these cool things. We now have a Nintendo Switch, which I haven't been able to talk about. My brother bought me pop vinyls for my birthday late. I got Marv from Home Alone, and I got this awesome Witch King one that I still haven't put on the shelf, and they both need to go on the shelf. But I want to talk about all these good things going on. This game room is completely... A lot's changed, a lot's been added to it. I've got more strategy guides, I've got some cool boxes. There's so much more cool stuff in this room that I really want to show you. But today, all I can think about is the utter nonsense of the WWE. Now, I want to kind of start the subject in chronological order. So Monday Night Raw on Monday was fine, okay? The ideas and stuff, there's a couple of things I don't really want them to do. A love triangle with Rusev and Lana again is not something I really want. Brock Lesnar killing Ray was a very good segment. Didn't do a lot for Ray. It led into what happened on Friday, so yeah, it was a very good segment still. Dominic Mysterio bumped like hell. So Raw, there wasn't too much wrong with Raw. Wednesday, we had the debut of All Elite Wrestling. Now, I've now watched the debut episode of AEW twice, and I'm in two minds over it. It was a very, very, very good debut show that had very good wrestling throughout. I don't think anything was great. There was not a great match on the show, but I thought everything was very good. The actual thing that made me like the episode more than NXT, which I'll talk about in a second, when I rewatched it, was the angle. The angle at the end of the show with Jericho and Santana and Ortiz, and Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager, the former Jack Swagger, the undefeated Bellator mixed martial artist, wrecking house and essentially forming a faction. That is what I thought AEW needed in its opening show. And that is why I think I preferred AEW to NXT. Now, NXT was very good this week. The opening match with Matt Riddle and Adam Cole was fantastic. It's one of the best matches in NXT this year, probably. It's definitely the best NXT TV match, I'd say. The rest of the stuff, Candice LeRae and Shayna Baszler was very good. Mia Yim and Io Shirai was very good. Johnny Gargano and Shane Thorne, all good stuff. All good stuff. Tommaso Ciampa's return, Finn Balor's in NXT. This is all really good stuff. At the end of the day, they had the better show. AEW beat them in the ratings. And they didn't just beat them in the ratings, they creamed them in the ratings. 1.4 million, I believe, to 890,000. Okay? Now, it's a debut show for AEW. They are going to have more. And NXT has had a couple of shows now on this Wednesday, this new 2-hour, hour on the network, hour off the network thing. But still, AEW won the first Wednesday war. Technically, some people will probably say NXT won the actual show in terms of quality. I just think the angle, when I watched AEW, I thought to myself, I want to come back next week and see where this angle goes. We come to SmackDown, and for probably a month now, they had built up Kofi Kingston and Brock Lesnar as a huge match, like a big match. Kofi was going to redeem himself for Beast in the East all those years ago. Well, it was only 4 years ago, 2015 in Japan. He was going to redeem himself for losing in 2 minutes to Brock Lesnar. And how does he redeem himself? I'm gonna put that on silent. Sorry. How does he redeem himself? By losing in 7 seconds. Now, again, I actually understand why they did this. And I can sympathise with the direction. It's just, they had built Kofi up over this reign really well. He barely lost on TV. He hasn't lost on pay-per-view, obviously. And he's won decently convincingly in most of his matches. He pinned Samoa Joe pretty clean. He pinned, Ziggler. Well, he beat Ziggler in the cage match by outthinking him. He beat Kevin Owens. He beat Randy Orton clean at Clash of Champions. So, Kofi was built as a now main event guy. And I know the WWE think that if we kill him in 7 seconds, it won't affect him. But it does. And Kofi now, who he actually lost in less time here than he did in Beast of the East, Kofi now feels again like a fluke champion. And his reign will probably go down as one of the funnest, especially during the rise, and then one of the most disappointing conclusions. The arrival of Cain Velasquez with Rey Mysterio was, as I said, nice direction from the Raw show. It was nice continuity. And again, I think the reason that they had Brock beat Kofi in such quick fashion was to bring the idea of the sports mentality, the fact that MMA fights can end in 17 seconds. Even though you have to be like Ronda Rousey or Conor McGregor or just get ungodly lucky in MMA to beat someone in 17 seconds. The fact that they brought Kane in and they made Brock look so terrified, obviously it makes you believe that Kane signed, and he's getting a WWE title match, which we now know will be at the Saudi Arabia show, Crown Jewel, at the end of October. Now, I am not going to watch that show outside of that Cain Velasquez match, just because Cain Velasquez is my favourite UFC fighter of all time. Favourite UFC heavyweight of all time. I loved watching him kill Brock in UFC. And this is one of those things that's like, you don't watch UFC. I love UFC. I love Cain Velasquez. He's my favourite, as I said, heavyweight of all time. Probably next to, Stipe Miocic's a pretty cool one now. But yeah, the only problem that I'm thinking with this Cain Velasquez Brock Lesnar situation is that a lot of WWE fans don't really know who this Cain Velasquez is. A lot of them probably think this is going to be his first match. This isn't his first match. Cain Velasquez had a match in Triple Mania, at Triple Mania for AAA. It was a 6-man, I believe he teamed with Cody Rhodes and Psycho Clown. And he looked really good in that. He looked really, really good. For a big guy, he did great lucha things. And I think a lot of the fans are not going to like this push towards these sports these sports stars to get the company some buzz. Because that's the only way the company can get buzz these days. They don't have stars anymore. John Cena's not there anymore. Roman Reigns doesn't draw. Seth Rollins is a hated champion. It just baffles me that this company, since John Cena left and became a part-timer in 2016, in 3 years I've not been able to make a single marketable star that the audience really, really love. Yes, Chad Gable's had a really good last couple of months with the King of the Ring finals and stuff. I would have gone all the way and had him win it, but they wanted to give it to Baron Corbin so that he could get more heat, even though he had more heat anyway. This is what I mean by the WWE being incompetent. They think way too many steps ahead, sometimes, and then sometimes they don't think enough. AEW's show on Wednesday was brilliant because it was simple. It was a faction storyline. Like, how simple was that? What made WCW work in '96? A faction storyline is exactly what AEW did on their first episode of Dynamite. And it was dynamite, it worked, it was gold, it was great television. Watching those 5 men kick the shit out of the Rhodes Brothers and the Bucks. And then we moved from Friday Night SmackDown, where we had the debut of Cain Velasquez, and there was the whole Tyson Fury thing. It looks like we're going to get Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman as well, which again, these WWE fans will not care. Most of them won't know who Tyson Fury is. We moved from SmackDown to Hell in a Cell last night. And Hell in a Cell last night, as a lot of people have put it, was one of the most boring pay-per-views I have ever seen in my entire life. The matches were drab, they were dead. The 6-man tag with the Viking Raiders, Braun Strowman and the Club, or the OC, was a Raw match. Bayley and Charlotte was pretty much a Raw match. The Kabuki Warriors was a Raw match, even though they turned heel at the end, kinda. There was nothing on the show that made me think I'm happy I paid $9.99 for it. The women at the beginning of Hell in a Cell did a very good job of having a different, inventive Hell in a Cell match. It's one of the better ones for the last couple of years. So good job to Sasha and Becky. I thought the finish was a bit weak. I thought after we'd gone through all that, the exploder on the chairs and then the disarmer was a little bit lazy. I think Hell in a Cell matches look better if the finish is a pin. It just makes the carnage seem a bit more fierce. And then the tornado tag afterwards with Harper and Rowan against Bryan and Reigns was also very good. But outside of that, the rest of the show had very little to show for anything. What else was even on the show? Lacey Evans and Natalya on the pre-show was a rematch that we'd seen 17 times. And they were getting another one that's going to be Last Woman Standing. I'm saving the best thing for last. I can't even think... Oh, Chad Gable and Baron Corbin had a boring, lethargic match. Chad Gable has been so good since these King of the Ring matches. He had a great match with Andrade. He had a match with Elias. He had a match with Shane, that was pretty meh. Like, he had a good match with Shelton Benjamin. Like, he had a really good match with Baron Corbin. These guys on this pay-per-view, for some reason, weren't allowed to do anything. It was a boring, lethargic Baron Corbin match, and that's not even his fault. And the other problem with the show, and I'll get to the main event in a minute, was the fact that there was only 4 matches booked on the day of the show. And, that shows how little of a shit WWE care about you. You've already paid your money to watch this show. You were going to watch it no matter what. And that is where AEW have you backed up. They give you... I checked this today. There were 4 dark matches after the taping on Wednesday. After the live show on Wednesday. 4! You got to see SCU. You got to see the Jurassic Express. You got to see Chucky Taylor and Beretta. And Anna Helico and Jack Evans. You got to see most of the roster that day. And that is value for your money. Those AEW Dynamite tickets probably cost, what? I don't know. Less than the Hell in a Cell tickets? And I bet the best match on AEW, which to me was probably Hangman Page and Pac, was far better. And I did like the Hell in a Cell from the women, but I thought that match was better than the women. The women, it just at times kind of lacked something, that kind of special pizzazz. Maybe it's because it's the opening match on the show as well. And then we come to the main event. We come to the main event of the show. My phone just went off again, I'm sorry. Seth Rollins and The Fiend Bray Wyatt. This matchup is... Some people are saying this was the worst match in wrestling history. Some are saying this was the worst pay-per-view match just in a while. To me, this is one of the dumbest, lamest ends to a feud. My phone keeps going off, my apologies. I have seen in a very long time. Well, it's not even the end to the feud. It's one of the silliest acts I've seen in a very, very long time. And I'm just thrown off a bit on my phone. I just need a drink. Okay, so the match was actually going okay. And I think a lot of credit... I don't even know if I should give credit anywhere. The lighting's probably the first thing I should talk about, right? So the lighting was kind of cool for like the first couple of minutes. But then I thought to myself, 1 minute. A Hell in a Cell match is hard enough to see as it is without the arena being completely black. And then we got to the latter portion of the match. And Seth Rollins has frog splashed Bray through a table. And Bray's given him a Sister Abigail and Rollins is kicked out. Bray is given a curb stomp. He kicks out at 1. Bray goes to get his mallet and he attacks Seth with his mallet. And Seth gives him a curb stomp on the mallet on the outside, the big playhouse, funhouse mallet. And he rolls him in the ring. He gives him 2 or 3 more curb stomps. He covers him. Bray kicks out. He gives him 5 more curb stomps. And Bray kicks out. He then gets the chair. And he does a chair shot to the head. Obviously, it's a safe one. He's essentially hitting the canvas. Bray kicks out. At 2 this time. And the crowd start chanting boring. They start chanting refunds. Well, that was after the show. They start chanting AEW. They start chanting bullshit. And you can see this is not going to end well. So, Rollins kills Bray with chair shot and the curb stomps and super kicks and knees and all this crap. Bray at this point has been down for about 6 minutes. Nobody liked the Fiend match from SummerSlam because it was him being resilient. We liked the Fiend match because it was him dishing out powerful, effective punishment. Nobody wanted to see Bray Wyatt take 25 finishes. And if anything, it's killed Seth Rollins' finish, which was very well protected. It's killed a chair shot to the head. I sometimes you can take a lot of finishes, not 10 and a chair shot to the head, and a ladder, and a chair shot on a chair, and then a ladder to a chair, and then toolbox to a ladder. None of this made any sort of logical sense. It was all completely baffling to me. And then Seth goes out the ring, and he gets a sledgehammer. And he goes in the ring, and he goes to hit Bray with the sledgehammer. Bray's dead, obviously. He's been down for about 10 minutes now. And Bray's dead. He's got a ladder on top of him, a chair on top of him, a toolbox on top of him. And the referee's like, Seth, don't do it. Sportsmanship, sportsmanship. I'm just thinking, what the fuck are you on about? This guy attacked 2 Hall of Famers. Like, this guy is like a villain. He's like an evil villain. Like, what do you mean sportsmanship? So Seth thinks about not doing it, and then he does it, and then he hits the sledgehammer on top of a ladder, on top of chairs. So it's not that devastating, obviously, when you think about it, but obviously it's supposed to be disgusting. And then the referee calls for the bell. And even Sean Waltman, who was watching the show on the network, he goes, "You're never going to have me on air again for this, but how the hell do you get DQ'd in a Hell in a Cell match?" And this is what I mean with WWE being incompetent. They don't even know their own rules. They put a poll up 4 days ago saying, how is it going to end? Win, submission, or DQ? And a lot of people worked it out that it was going to end in DQ because neither man could lose. Seth had just beaten Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman. He couldn't lose. But the Fiend's too hot. So they decided to do a bullshit DQ finish in a Hell in a Cell match to escape it. And the one excuse that a lot of people say, although I haven't seen a lot of people actually combat this today, is there's been a couple. Oh, well, how else would you expect them to get out of the situation? It's very simple. If you don't want to be caught having an affair, don't have the affair in the first place. Don't book the match. Like, seriously. WWE did not have to book a match between The Fiend and Seth Rollins. They decided to. They suffered the consequences of the bullshit chants, the AEW chants, and the refunds chants. If I was in that crowd, I would want my refund, because that was probably the least satisfying pay-per-view main event I may have seen during my time as a wrestling fan. Not that I was that interested in it anyway, but when I heard all the commotion about the show, I had to watch it. I didn't watch the show live. I watched it this morning. But this show was... It's not even finished, is it? Seth has a go at Bray after the match, says, "You made me do this." The crowd are just booing this out the building. And then The Fiend gets up. He mandible claws Seth to death. Blood starts dripping out of his mouth like he's having his throat slashed. And I almost started to laugh. It was funny. I get it, you can probably bleed from someone sticking fingers down your throat, but not to the extent that they made it. It was comical. And that was how the show went off the air. And yeah, kind of an eerie way to go off the air. The top babyface getting destroyed by the heel. There's shows that have done it and done it really successfully in the past. This one was horrendous. And Hell in a Cell is going to go down as probably one of the most boring pay-per-views ever, with one of the worst main events in company history. I can't wait to see what the star rating Meltzer gives this. And I know that that's not important to a lot of people. Meltzer is the most respected journalist in wrestling. Okay? He gives WWE credit when they deserve it. He gave the Tyler Bate Walter match 5.25 stars. When wrestling's good in WWE, he'll give you it. When it's shit, he'll give you it and say it's shit. AEW all week have done nothing but surprise me and impress me. WWE all week have done nothing but disappoint me and show how lackadaisical and how little of a shit they give for their fans. So from now on, I will not be watching WWE pay-per-views live. I can't be bothered anymore. It's not worth the time. I will not be reviewing WWE pay-per-views live until they sort this out. I will not be watching a WWE pay-per-view live until I see a match that intrigues me, like the Kane one, which is, I know it's the next pay-per-view, but get over yourselves. Until something intrigues me, or until I hear that a match is fantastic on a show. I watch wrestling for the wrestling, and this week AEW gave me really fun wrestling. So did NXT, but AEW just nipped it for me. I am upset at the fact that WWE have kind of just let me down. Like, I'm not crying, but it's just... I've been a wrestling fan now for 15 years. WWE has been a part of my life for 15 years. These other companies, New Japan and stuff, have only been a part of mine for like 4 or 3 even. So, why do I love them more? Because they don't hurt me as much. They don't screw me, they don't bullshit me, and they care about me more than WWE do. Yeah, maybe they don't know me as a person, but they know their fans better. And that's why AEW started off on its main show the way they did, with Cody and Sammy Guevara. That's why they had Hangman Page and Pac on the first show. That's why they had a women's title match with a really great crowd. That is what AEW do right, and that's what WWE do wrong. Ah, 1 second. Sorry about that, I just had to let the door... Oh, it's a shame I can't edit on here, innit? But I just had to go and let Sherelle in the house. What was I saying? About AEW, and I guess the final thing, kind of a way to wrap this whole video up. AEW, in response to the main event of Hell in a Cell, tweeted out, "You can watch AEW Dynamite Wednesdays from 7." And that stuck with me. And someone else put this on Twitter. All I've read all morning is fans saying this was the best promotion for AEW. Get out of WWE. Stop watching this crap and go and watch something that's going to treat you with some sense. It's going to treat you fairly. B, it's not going to test your patience. C, it's not going to test your knowledge or your senses. And I guess D, it's going to care for you more. The product in AEW, with moments like Riho winning the belt, which the crowd ate up, stuff like that, you don't get enough of those in WWE. Now, to be fair, NXT and NXT UK, I'm going to still be watching those shows, because those shows have done nothing wrong. Those shows are perfect, actually. And they have quality wrestling on every one of their takeovers. So, those shows are not the problem. It's just these main WWE pay-per-views I'm not going to be watching unless I see a really big, special thing that interests me. But guys, that's going to be the end of my video. This has been a long, unscripted rant on WWE and how they are complete fucking morons. What do you guys think? What do you think to my return to YouTube? What do you think to the main event of Hell in a Cell? What do you think to this week for WWE? Are you one of those people that think that Hell in a Cell was a very good show? Did you think the main event was one of the best matches in company history? What do you think to AEW Dynamite? What do you think to the NXT this week? What do you think to the Matt Riddle and Cole match? I thought was excellent. And what do you think to anything else I guess I brought up, Pop Vinyl? You know, the matches I've talked about, Walter Tyler Bate, Jay White, Kota Ibushi. There's so much stuff that I'd love to talk about in this one video, but this video is going to go far too long if I do. So I'm just going to say this, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe for more. This has been Revolver Ross and Love.